Okay, here we are again. I'm resting my laptop precariously on the edge here so I can show you that I have done I can't show you that I've done the ceiling because it's so dark. There. I've done the ceiling. The fireplace isn't actually in yet, but I have done a pattern for the floor. Okay, I took this lamp out and realised that it's broken. I may still keep it. I suppose I could put some detail over the top of it or something. I'm hoping, she says, trying this all one-handed, that's going to put in just enough light. I think it'll look quite spooky. Okay, the other thing is you can see the mirror frame is up here at the moment because the mirror doesn't fit there. There's not enough space for it to go there. But everything else is kind of fitting. So, fireplace. I put very lightly some grey paint over it, and I found these tiles. They're not real tiles, they're printed out. But so let's change the camera angle and we will carry on. Okay, I've as you can see slightly brought the camera in. So these tiles, you're not going to see them very well there. Let's get some. Here they are. So I found this amazing place online that sells reproduction and original fireplace insert tiles, and I found these, which I thought would be perfect. The blues and the reds back would match the purples, the muted browns and oranges and faded pinks would look great, and it kind of reminds me of Lenore, so from the poem. Don't know if you're going to get a really good. Anyway, so I printed it onto the back of some of my papers and then cut them out, and I had to jig them around a bit in the end. I had to make them skinnier and longer, but to be honest it didn't detract. I did ink the edges with a black that's gone kind of grey, and where the tiles are separated I took my ball tool and just scraped off the glue as it was drying, and I did use glue just over the top to give it a little bit of a shine, but not too much of a gloss shine. Like I said, I dry brushed it very, very lightly with some grey paint. I mixed grey with a little bit of green, my favourite green, which is this sagey green. This is a light sage. I love sage green. So this is not in the room any longer. This I'm not having in the room any longer because it's just too big. It's more what I would call a 1/6 size rather than a 1/12. But yeah, so the fire grate, all I did, I added a line of card, a craft board here, two smaller lines here, fold it round, stuck it in, and stuck this down. And I am exceptionally pleased with how this turned out. This is just, and you see the little lip round here, it's just 3 layers of card. So the pattern for the floor, now you could, if you wanted to, just print out a pattern onto paper and then cut it out, but this is just plain copier paper, and I measured the room inside, and it ended up being, because I had to account for the walls, 8 1/16 by 4 7/8. I then slipped this inside the room and marked, let me show you, okay, marked, as you can see here, 2 little notches, marked, that's where the door posts come down, because I added that extra bolt around the door frame, so that's the door frame. I then I stuck in the wall first, I placed in the fireplace and just drew around it with a pencil whilst it was in situ, took out the piece of paper and then cut round it. So this is my plan for the floor. This is what the floor goes onto. I like to use the paper because it doesn't add too much bulk. In other projects I have used card instead, but what I'm also going to do is I think I'm going to use, I haven't decided on popsicle sticks or coffee stirrers, so let's go get those. So coffee stirrers, probably use the shorter ones, and craft sticks, which are popsicle sticks. The popsicle sticks are thicker, obviously they're wider and they're thicker, but I have accounted for that in the room. However, the coffee stirrers will be easier and will look just as effective, if not slightly thin. I know that Victorian floorboards were thinner than what they tend to be nowadays. They tend to be more slender this way. The trouble is with coffee stirrers as well, you get so many dodgy ones, and you can see this one's like a hockey stick almost. It's got a nice, which would be useful, maybe. So I think I'm going to use these because I think in the long run that's going to be easier, because if I get a loose one of those, alright, so here's a popsicle stick. I'm going to measure it up against the side of here, and it virtually comes up to the, doesn't give me much of a lip after that. So that's my decision. Do I use which of those? So I'm going to think about that for a minute, and what I shall do is I shall paint these before, whichever ones I use, I will paint them before I stick them down, because then, as you saw with the ceiling, the minute you get glue anywhere, it does tend to stop the paint from seeping in. However, I will be sanding them anyway. I'm going to use these. Or I'm going to use these. Or I'm going to use these. Oh, I think I'm going to use the coffee stirrers. I'm in a real dilemma here. I've given myself this dilemma and I really don't know. So I'll be back when I've thought about it. As you can see, I went with the popsicle sticks and I put them into roughly 3-inch lengths. And now I'm going to stick them to this piece of paper with wood glue. I'm going to use my Gorilla Glue for this. And to make it slightly easier, I'm going to paint the sticks and stick them on rather than paint the paper, because the paper then tends to go a bit wrinkly and soggy and out of shape. Okay, now we wait for this to dry. Now normally I would press this under books, but to be honest, this is actually very, very flat. I think it's because it's just a small piece here. It's not too bad at all. So the next job would be to get some sandpaper. This is, I think it's 120 grit or 180 grit, and I'm just going to sand over it. And this does two things, by the way. It takes off any glue residue and just flattens out the little lumps and bumps. Right, bit of a clean up. Hoover would probably be better. I would advise as well, when you're doing this, please do wear a mask. I have a mask. I haven't worn it, but I do have a mask. So you need to have a mask that's going to stop the dust particles, really. Now, this feels dry to me, so I'm going to cut all the excess off. Now the rule is you cut across the grain first. Second rule, well actually the first rule should be use a fresh blade. But yeah, so don't cut with the grain first, because when you cut with the grain with popsicle sticks, it will tend to split the wood right up. So if you go against the grain first, so when you've got bits like this sticking over, you go against the grain first. So like on here, I'm going to go against the grain first. And what I am going to do is do it with my ruler, because I am useless at cutting a straight line. Even with a ruler I'm pretty useless. So across the grain first. Okay, that was harder than I thought it was going to be. I'm just going to sand these edges a little bit. Get that bit off. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is a trick that a lot of miniaturists do. I'm going to get a ballpoint pen, just a biro, and on each end of these I'm just going to, it doesn't matter what colour, because all you're looking for is the holes, because when you go over this the paint should seep in, so you just want an old pen or a ball tool or something, and you want to put in holes So 2 holes at each end of each plank. Okay, another quick sand, and I'm ready then to start colouring the floorboards. Now I know I have some of this really dark mixed, and I think that's what I'm going to go with. Hopefully there'll be enough here. All done. I have sanded it and done a second coat, so I'm going to put this into the room. I'm also going to attach the fireplace and put that in the room. I'm hoping these gaps aren't going to show too much. It's a bit more gappy than I was hoping it to be. And I broke this again. It's got a great big hole in it now, so I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I do have some tape that I could put around it, but we'll see how that goes. So, quite a short video today. I'm going to put this in, and then I will show you what it all looks like in when I start the next video, because then it's just making curtains, figuring out what I'm going to do about the bust. I think I'm going to buy one and cut it down, and decide what I'm going to do about this poor thing. So goodbye for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be back soon. Goodbye.